She's in control.
What's going on?
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2023 horror Baghead. The film is directed by Alberto Corredor and it stars Freya Allen, Jeremy Irvine, Ruby Barker and Peter Mullen. Right. The film follows Freya Allen's character Iris, who is a young girl who's a little bit down on her luck. She has no relationship with her father, and she hasn't for many, many years. And then out of the blue, she learns that her father owned a very, very old-fashioned pub. And she has been left it in a will because her father has been found dead. Now, once she takes over this property, she learns through a videotape that her father left her that she not only has become the owner and tenant of this pub, but she also has a very special tenant in the basement, and it is Baghead, a 400-year-old witch that, if properly motivated, will allow you to speak to the dead for 2 minutes, anybody that you choose, as long as you give Baghead a possession from that person who you want to speak to. This opens up a world of possibilities, as there is a local person, Neil, who is desperate to speak to his wife, who died in a car crash, and he's willing to pay Iris money, to which she is very susceptible to, but she soon becomes clear that things are getting out of control and Baghead is starting to take over. Right, what are my thoughts on Baghead? Well, this film has been getting fairly lukewarm reviews, I think it's fair to say. This is a film that I was initially impressed with, and when I saw the trailers I thought this looks pretty decent. And, you know, as I've said, the reviews weren't particularly good, so I've kind of held off on watching this one until, you know, it becomes more readily available, I suppose it's fair to say. And while I don't think this film is going to be on anybody's, you know, top 10 horror films of the year by any stretch of the imagination, there are some things to enjoy in this film. However, it is also painfully predictable, and in a lot of ways very, very generic. What I liked about this film was the whole concept of Baghead. This 400-year-old witch, essentially, kept in this basement that many, many years ago, 400 years ago, she was taken advantage of by the church or society or whatever, you know, because they were all, you know, clambering over each other to kind of make use of her gifts when they found out that she could speak to the dead. And it's basically happened, you know, throughout the ages, to the point where Baghead has been kind of bricked up down in the cellar. And there is a specific set of rules to follow so that Baghead never gets free. And the father has left these instructions to Iris, his estranged daughter, to follow. Now, the whole idea of Baghead and the whole concept of Baghead, and there is actually quite an effective scene where somebody talks through the history of Baghead. All that kind of, you know, setup and build up of this character I really enjoyed, and this whole concept of, you know, speaking to the dead for 2 minutes. But if you go longer than 2 minutes, then basically Baghead is in control and you've had it then, you know, because she will essentially try to manipulate or, you know, kill or whatever. So that all kind of worked. The rest of it, for me, just, I don't know, it just raised too many eyebrows for me, and I just didn't buy a lot of the behaviours of the characters. For example, Iris, at the beginning of the film, she's nothing really. You know, she's having to kind of, you know, live with a mate because she doesn't have two pennies to rub together. Really, she's skint, and she's got dreams, and then she gets this opportunity at this pub, and she also is given the opportunity before she signs on the dotted line, so to speak, to see if she would be interested in selling it or anything like that. And she's like, no, and I'll take it on, sort of thing. And this is before she knows anything about Baghead. It just looks like a broken down old, property stroke pub before she takes it over. So why, and they make every effort to tell her and let her know, this solicitor that's kind of passing it on, this news, that it's dilapidated, it's going to cost a lot of money to renovate, so on and so forth. But still, she decides to take it on. And for the life of me, I would imagine 9, if not 9.5 people out of 10 would say, right, how much can I get from this? She never does that. She takes it on, which didn't make sense to me. As I've mentioned, Baghead, there are certain rules to follow to keep Baghead under control. And for 400 years, you could argue there has been some success in doing that by keeping her down in that basement. And I would imagine there's probably been a few close shaves over the years when she's almost got out. Well, guess what? After pretty much, the first night that she finds out about Baghead, she breaks the rules. And you're just thinking, well, this just isn't going to end well. 400 years of keeping this, ancient witch, relatively under control down in a basement, and within 2 or 3 days, it goes completely tits up with Iris and a mate. I would suggest she wasn't the right person to leave in charge of this 400-year-old witch, Baghead, but there we go. We probably wouldn't have had any half interesting film, would we? So she won't see sense, she can't see sense, so therefore her mate, who's the only one who can see sense, and she goes off investigating and stuff, which always ends up ending well, doesn't it, for the friends in movies like this? So as I've said, it is painfully predictable, this film, but it's it's good, great production values. It's got a creepy look and setting about it. There are some interesting ideas going on in the film, and the performances are all fine, absolutely fine. I don't have an issue with anything like that. And I think while there are some lazy stroke dodgy effects going on with things like the fire and the flames and stuff, I think the effects for Baghead itself actually looked okay. But yeah, beyond that, I mean, it's just above average, this. It is definitely watchable. It's not a bad film by any stretch, but you do kind of come away a little bit underwhelmed, I think is the right phrase to say for Baghead. So yeah, let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this film, and I will, of course, be back with plenty more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.